Hey, what's going on, good people? Armand Owens here once again with another episode of the Unsung Leader Daily Leadership Nugget, and we're continuing on with day 14 of Leadership Hacks. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about just being honest, right? Especially about being honest and open with your shortcomings. Um, a lot of what we try to project as leaders is perfection. We want to come across as the person with the answer. We want to come across as the person with the ultimate authority. We want to come across as our own picture of what we think a leader should be. And however we have formulated that over time, I got to tell you, sometimes it just doesn't line up with reality. Um, you know, because the truth of the matter is that you are a flawed human being. We're all flawed human beings. And nothing comes across worse when you're interacting with another person than inauthenticity. It's being dishonest about who you are. Coming across as inauthentic is, projecting yourself as somebody that is above really reality almost. But a lot of times, because we have that pressure of doing a good job, we have that pressure of being the leader that we have in our minds. We think that any chinks in our armor, any inconsistency, anything that is a hindrance becomes a barrier to our ability to effectively lead. And what it ends up being is, it just highlights our own, insecurities, and shows, that we aren't comfortable with ourselves, and nothing is transmitted more loudly, than our own insecurities. The people that we have the privilege of leading can pick up on that. They know when we're putting on a mask. They know when we're, trying to be, something that we're not. They understand it. They feel it. You have felt it if you've come across those leaders that have, tried to project an image of a person that they just really are not. That's why it's extremely important to come across as a genuine person, to come across as a genuine person with, with flaws. For me, one of the things that going into my chief's quarters, my chief's mess, and being a cop, I had to make sure that I was open and upfront, about all the things that I struggle with, and be vulnerable enough, in those moments to not worry about being exploited, right? Because on some level, we worry about whether or not somebody's going to use that information against us. And I think in some cases that is a concern, but that goes back to the insecurity portion. You got to make sure you deal with that thing yourself. Make sure you deal with the worst parts of you yourself. Accept that, understand that about yourself, understand that you have that weakness, right? And begin to put in mitigations to try to overcome that. Not spending so much time, because I'm a believer of doubling down on your talents, doubling down on what you're gifted with. If you are talented in process management, double down on that. And you may not be as talented in, giving speeches or whatever the case may be. You may need to have somebody else to come in, and speak for you in that way. Whatever the case may be, whatever your thing is, I believe in doubling down on that. But that doesn't mean that you disavow, the things that you're not good at. So one of the things I communicated when I came into my cheese mess was that, number one, I'm lactose intolerant. So when I drink milk, I have problems that come across with being lactose intolerant. And obviously there was some humor, in that, but that just kind of opened the conversation. But one of the things I also struggle with is, I have so many things going on in my head all the time. If you've ever done a DISC assessment, pardon me, that was my work phone going off. But if you've ever done a DISC assessment, I'm an I, right? And I'll let you look up, what I'm a primary eye. Will let you look up what that means. But I'm an idea guy, so I have a ton of ideas. I have a ton of things that I want to do. Well, that tends to make me forgetful. That tends to make me grab onto things or say that I'm going to do things and move on, to the next thing without doing the thing that I said I was going to do. Not because I don't honor the person I said I was going to do it, but I'm just generally like, scatterbrained sometimes, right? So I was honest about that shortcoming in an effort to have my Chiefs mess, have my team back me up. I would ask, hey, if we had an interaction where you asked me to do something, could you follow this conversation up with an email so that I don't forget when I move on and have 79 other conversations before I get to my computer? Just an effort to hold me accountable. And even in meetings, when I say that I'm going to do something, I ask somebody, hey, please, can you remind me to, if I don't do it, within this time frame, that means I forgot, please, send me an email or send me a text or come let me know, hey, you forgot to send this. That's a shortcoming that I have. Another thing that I've done, to try to mitigate that is, and that's another hack. Hey, you get a 2-for-1 a day. You get a 2-for-1 hack today. One touch rule. So a lot of what I have, a lot of admin that I get comes in a blue folder, and I have stolen this from my lovely wife, called the one touch rule, where if I touch it, I gotta deal with it at that moment, right, and route it, right. So I never touch it, put it on my desk, and just leave it, because it'll be there for the next 2 weeks. I don't know if anybody else had that same problem, but anyway. So dealing with those, being honest about those shortcomings, being honest about, you may have a temper, and you may need a couple of seconds, to respond to things, whatever the case may be. Be honest about your shortcomings, because nobody's expecting perfection, but they are expecting you to be genuine as a leader. They are expecting you to be authentic. They are expecting you to be honest. And you don't diminish your light just because you're revealing more about yourself. Just because you're revealing more about your imperfections. No, it's just your own uniqueness. Nobody is good at everything. That's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. So be honest about your shortcomings. Let your team know. It's not going to diminish your value. It's not going to, limit the effectiveness of your leadership. It's only going to make you more effective. And it's only going to make you more connected at a human level, to your team, which is a lot of, what they're really looking for. Not looking for perfection. They're looking for a leader, and those things are not, leader and perfection are not synonymous. All right. So if you have that as a rule set, that you believe, go ahead and throw it out the window. Because I can guarantee here within the next, couple of minutes, couple of hours, couple of days, you're going to make a mistake, and that's all right. And I guarantee you're going to consistently make a mistake in areas that exist within your weakness. And that's okay too. It's not okay not to mitigate it, right? So be honest about your shortcomings with your team, because all you're doing is just being a more authentic leader, right? Like, share, let me know what you think. Comment at the bottom. Hey, continue on doing this. Getting real busy lately. These evals are stacking up. But let me know what you think. Unsung Leader, out.